Yeah, okay, time to live free. Plenty goals I'm achieving. Some real life topics and talking financial freedom. Mindset, soul and love, everything in between. This is Freedom Podcast. Tune in, live free. Hey, got my mindset right and I got the drive. Planning one day, no more job, no more 9 to 5. Love money, mind. Love money, mind. This is freedom. Tune in, cause it's going down. Woo!
Hello everyone, we're on day 4 of the 12 days of happiness and abundance. How are we all? Let me know if you can hear me. Let me just check the comments. I can see I've got a few viewers. Let me know if you can hear me okay. That'll be fab. So today we're talking all about stress, stress, anxiety, overwhelm. And geez, I had a lot of this over the years. Stress and worry. I can see a lot of people are stressed and anxious right now as well. I think the world with the whole virus has caused a lot of extra stress for people, and it can lead on to more serious things. It can lead on to depression. It can prevent you sleeping. Hi, how you doing? And it can have such a severe impact into your, not just your daily life, but also long-term health. It can cause high blood pressure. It can cause kind of longer term problems. So it's something that we really need to manage well. And just let me know in the comment section if you're somebody that might be worried or stressed right now, or you've experienced this and you've had worry and stress or overwhelm, in your life, and whether you're feeling like that now. It'd be good to hear how you're all feeling. So good to see you, Jeanette. I'm sure you'll be able to relate to this because I know you've had similar challenges, and I think everybody has kind of some kind of worry or stress. I think anybody that says that they don't is probably telling a few fibs, because I think if we look at, I did microbiology at university, so we look at like the biology of it all. It's that whole fight or flight response, isn't it? And actually, sometimes if we're in a dangerous situation, our body naturally will, go into stress. And it's just when you have that long-term stress and anxiety and things that you can't cope with. And I'm not a doctor, I'm not going to go into kind of personal recommendations and things like that. I'm just really purely speaking from the experience I've had over the years, and going to share a few things of how I've managed stress and anxiety, and maybe it'll just help someone, maybe it'll help you, because I do think it's something that we really need to tackle, and I think it's also personal to you as well. Jeanette's saying lots of stress and overwhelm, anxiety. It's taken time to calm and be more stable. And I think you do find your own way, don't you? You've got to try and think of things that work for you, because it's not the same for everybody. And I think there's some I can't always see who's speaking. So I know someone said that they've got anxiety. The way StreamYard works is you have to register beforehand. So I don't know why it comes up with some people and it doesn't come up with others. But yeah, I think there's a lot of people stressed right now, and I think there's different levels, aren't there? And there's also obviously lots of different kind of conditions out there in the medical world. So as I say, I am not a medical professional. I want to put that legal statement out there to cover myself. And I'm literally just sharing some stuff that has worked for me, because I think things can just lead on to other things. Like I say, I wasn't sleeping for ages. And I used to have quite a lot of palpitations, and my blood pressure was high. And I was really kind of then starting to worry about being worried. So I think, if you are experiencing what you think is very severe stress, then you really must go and get medical advice. You can go for CBT and counselling. And I'll openly say that I've had talk therapy, and it's really worked for me. And I think you can, it's sometimes difficult, isn't it, to share with people that are close to you. So maybe find someone that you can share these kind of personal things with. Maybe not someone so close to you if you don't feel comfortable doing that, because it's that whole thing of a problem shared is a problem halved. And I think you always feel a lot better for kind of getting it off your chest. But yeah, I'm going to share a few things, because one of the things is looking after ourselves. And I think sometimes when we are really anxious and stressed, it's the last thing we think about, like eating healthily and having physical exercise and all those kind of things that the doctors tell us. When we go to the doctors, we're always prepared that we're going to be getting told off, and we know the things that we should be doing. And if you have like sort of deeper depression, sometimes it really disables us, like even getting up in the morning. I remember having some real dark periods where I was just, I felt like I couldn't really function. So one of the first things is making sure that you really do look after yourself. And I think sometimes that's hard. It's easier to say than do, because if you are worried or you're down, it's the last thing you're thinking about. But really do look after yourself. And I think the other thing, so I've kind of collated a few lists of things to do. I think one of the first things is to accept it, because I think we're always in denial. We see all this positivity online. We can't be positive all the time. And it's important that we accept that we are stressed and worried, rather than in our head telling ourselves off for being stressed and worried or anxious. So the first step is actually accepting it, and just accepting that this is a moment and it's going to pass. I'm not going to be like this all the time. It is going to pass, and just really, really accepting it. The second thing is just really completely have a brain dump, and just, write everything down. Just literally write all your worries down. Maybe write a list of all the things that you're worried about, because sometimes when you've got all these different worries, you might be worried about money, you might be worried about your own health or someone else's health, or I'm trying to think of all the things. I was obviously in an abusive relationship, so there was a lot of fear going on about things that could happen. And a lot of the time it's really irrational thoughts that we have. So by writing a list of all the things that are worrying you, you can kind of like put them in boxes, and kind of tackle each one at a time in a more rational way, rather than letting all that worry and stress kind of consume you and overwhelm you. So first thing is accepting it and recognizing that it's a moment and it's not going to last forever. Second thing is just brain dumping it all down and making a list of all those things, and maybe, speaking to somebody, confiding in someone, because I really do think that's important, because I think we bottle things up, don't we? We don't want to bother people, when actually everybody has these kind of worries, and different worries at different times in life. And, I think it's important to be able to share that. But if you feel like you can't share it, just literally brain dump it all down on a piece of paper or in a book or a journal or whatever you've got. And then and start to kind of write a list of all those sections that you're worried about, so that you can then tackle it. I always think, and in fact, I'll share a funny story with you in a bit, because today I kind of had a moment where I was feeling stressed, and I thought, isn't this funny that I'm going to be covering this later? Take your own advice, Anna. Another one that's worked for me is literally just leaving what I'm doing and just going for like a 5 or 10 minute walk, and just getting some fresh air, being out in nature. And I suppose that links in with all looking after ourselves, isn't it? Self-care and eating well and doing physical exercise, and not turn into drinking loads of wine, because that's not going to help. So yeah, go for a quick walk, or just get away from what you're currently doing and just take a moment. And also breathing techniques. I've done a lot around breathing techniques, because when we're in that panic and stress, and we know that it's all kind of like irrational thoughts, or we all just get carried away, and sometimes you don't think it's irrational, your brain's just working overtime. Just taking a moment and taking sort of 5 to 10 deep breaths will really, really kind of lower that and calm it down. Jeanette's saying that I find trying to bring myself back to the present with some mindfulness and actually designate worry time so it doesn't take over my whole day. That's really good, because you're kind of like, you're putting it in that box, aren't you? Or kind of I can't say the word, putting it in a box, put it in a compartment, and just kind of like recognizing that that's there, and you will deal with it, but not letting it consume us, because I think it can consume us, and that's where we feel like it's getting out of control. And a good night's sleep can really help. Now, I used to know that, but I still couldn't sleep anyway, because I was having all these like palpitations and things like that. So it's difficult, I think, with sleep. It's like a bit of a vicious circle. Meditation has also helped me. And meditation isn't all about, meditation is personal to you. You can meditate just going on a walk. You can meditate while you're sat in your bath. It's just being mindful, like Jeanette's saying, and just taking a moment, do some breathing techniques, and just taking that time out. I've also found that EFT, if anybody wants to look into EFT a bit more, because when I was having a lot of court hearings, the day before I used to get all kind of wound up, and that evening I wouldn't sleep. And then when I was entering the courtroom, I was getting all really, stressed out beforehand. And I really looked into all this EFT stuff. And it's around tapping. And there's certain areas, if I remember them all, there's on your eyebrow, underneath your eye, at the side here, at the back of your head, here as well, on your chin, and then like on your collarbone here. And also they call it the karate tapping here. And just like I was saying about recognizing that you are in this stressful moment and you are getting really anxious, and it's all built, because it starts to affect your body when you get it, doesn't it? You feel a bit worried, and then it starts to build up and build up and build up, and you can feel your heart rate increasing, and then it just can completely consume you. So taking a few breaths, and what I used to do is get, like the little essential oils in a roller ball, because I love the smell of some of those, like lavender and orange oil. I used to, before I went in the courtroom, I used to put some of that oil, because the security always take the perfume off you if you've got perfume. So I never used to take it, because I used to forget to go and pick it up afterwards, and I wasted all these bottles of perfume. So I used to get the little roller balls of essential oils, because I never took them off me. Just, deep breath and smell all that oil, and then just find areas to tap. And I'm not an expert on EFT. There's loads of videos on YouTube if you're really interested in it. But what you do is you basically say, whatever you're worried about. So say you're worried about money, or say for me, I was really anxious about going in the courtroom. And you just have to, and you can even say it in your mind if you don't want to say it out loud. But you tap on areas, and I used to be like, take a deep breath, take a moment, and then I would be, I recognize that I'm stressed right now and I'm worried about this court hearing. But I am a good person. And just you basically recognizing that you're in a stressful moment, but you deeply connect and say it out loud. Say, look, I recognize that I'm in a stressful moment. And you take a deep breath. I know I'm stressed right now, but I'm deeply connected with the person that I am, and I know I'm a good person. And that because normally when we have anxiety, we have all these irrational thoughts, don't we, where we're saying, oh God, I'm really anxious and I'm getting worse, and this is never going to happen. And we're looking at the worst kind of things all the time. So the whole idea with tapping is recognizing that you're anxious, but reconfirming with yourself that actually everything's going to be okay and you're a good person. So it can really work. And it's definitely something that really helped me in moments of time. So Jeanette's saying that a friend of mine swears by tapping. Yeah. And you're just going to say what work, you have to recognize what you're stressed or anxious about, because it can be, there's loads of different things we can be stressed about, isn't there? So you have to recognize that first and sort of say it out loud or say it to yourself. And then instead of the normal irrational thoughts that get carried away with, oh my God, this is going to get worse and the worst is going to happen, we'll just take a moment to say, I recognize that I'm stressed and worried about this money situation right now. But I am a good person and it's all going to work out. And it just brings your whole thing down, and the whole stress thing down, because our brain can escalate and just go into ridiculous things. So yeah, Tracy's here. It is really interesting, and it does really work. You know, the first few times you do it, you do feel a bit silly doing it. But yeah, definitely go and look into it if you're interested in that. And it's a little bit like having the affirmations, isn't it? But what it does is there's a science behind it. Because all of these points, I can't remember what they all stand for now, but there's certain points like the back of your head that because you're tapping, it's just bringing that whole situation down. And because you're saying it out loud or saying it to yourself in your mind, instead of your thoughts irrationally going off, you're literally calming that whole situation down. So I know I'm repeating myself a little bit, but it does really, really work. So those were the main things I wanted to say, really. That brain recognize that you are anxious, and like Jeanette said, maybe kind of say, right, I'm having a bit of a worry moment, I'm going to deal with that later, I'm not going to let it consume my day. But you don't try and fight it. Don't try and fight being worried or anxious. Accept that you are. That was one of my biggest light bulb moments when someone told me that. Because I think we always like, oh no, why am I stressed? Why am I stressed? I need to sort this out. I need to be okay. I need to be perfect. No, we're not perfect. We recognize that we're being stressed. Brain dump it all. Write a list of all the things that are bothering you. Do some deep breathing, just 5 deep breaths, and then go and have a look at tapping. It's definitely really worth checking out. And just don't let it overwhelm you, which I know is easier said than done, but some of those techniques will help you. And just look after you. I've said previously, we as women are terrible at looking after ourselves. I now book things in my diary to make sure I remember to do it. So just take time out, go for a walk, don't hit the bottle, because it's not good for you. Oh, and that's what I was going to say. Today I had, I'm selling things out of my garage. I'm trying to clear everything out of my garage. And I always know that this time is a good time of year. So I've got like an old dishwasher. There's some old products that I was selling I just want to get rid of. And what else? I've got old bikes for the boys and things like that. And I've had this product that a lot of people have been interested in. And it's basically it's for men, and like I've had this overwhelm of men trying to haggle and negotiate with me for it. And basically just like it also, what triggers me to stress and anxiety these days is entitled men, where they kind of think that because I'm a woman, they can control the situation and just dominate the whole situation. So I had this guy turn up at my house, and he'd been asking me loads of questions about the size, about the price of it, and I was sticking to my guns. I wasn't negotiating because this product was like, it was being sold. You can buy it for like 250 quid, and I was selling it for 150 because I just wanted to get rid of it. And I was convinced that all the messages I was getting was from the same person, but from different profiles. I don't know why. That was just probably me being suspicious. So this guy turns up, and having said to me, clarifying already and trying to negotiate and saying that the size was small of this item, and me clarifying, well, that's the size of it. He then turns up and then says, oh, it's so much smaller than I thought. And he was going to go into this whole negotiation. And I just stopped him because I was feeling intimidated. And I just closed my carriage door. And I said, look, if you're not interested, it's fine. And he was like, and he was wanting it, but I took it away from him because I just thought I could feel myself getting really anxious and feeling intimidated because he's been sending me all these messages that have been quite bullyish. And I just thought, no, I've moved on from this kind of dictatorish attitude, bullying behavior. So I closed the garage door, locked the garage, and just said, look, it's fine. I've got other people interested. And he was trying to speak, trying to kind of say, oh, I'll have, and I just took it away. I just thought, I'm not accepting it. But I came inside and I felt really panicky and really stressed and was getting upset, thinking, why is it that the guys do this? And it's always to a woman. And I'm not creating this in my head. I know I've seen it and I knew it. And I was even uncomfortable with him coming to the house, even though it was daytime. I've now got another one messaging me and wanted to come around at 10 o'clock tonight. And I said, no, I'm sorry. I'm not having anyone come around to my house at that time. And he wants to come round tomorrow at 6. I'm like, I still feel uncomfortable. So I ended up having to just take a moment, breathe, laugh about it. Laughter and fun does, watching something that's funny will kind of take you away from it. But I know still that I'm not saying all men, it's a certain type of guy. And it's this entitled attitude and this bullyish that they would not do that to another guy, another guy, but they'll do it to a woman. And I haven't got any patience for it now. So I literally just draw myself away, cut them clean, and I could have sold that item, I think, today by standing there and being intimidated. But I thought, no, I'm not allowing myself. But I did feel really stressed after it, or just anxiety starting. So some of the stuff that I've shared really does work, because it did work for me today. I just took a moment, moved myself off the laptop, went for a little walk, did some breathing exercises, and thought, no, I'm sticking to my guns. I'm a girl power woman, and I am not going to allow someone to bully me into something, no matter how trivial it might seem to some people. So let's see what he's saying. I would have just given in as I'm soft. No, but the thing is, I would have used to have done that. But it was just the way it was done, because his friend started coming out of the car. It was intimidation. I won't allow it. I'm not having it. So yeah, Jeanette's saying nice boundaries. And I think those are my triggers because of stuff that's happened in the past. I probably wouldn't have, if I hadn't had all that stuff in the past, I probably wouldn't maybe react. I didn't verbally react. I didn't like start screaming and shouting. But I literally just was like, look, don't worry. I've got other people interested, and I shut the garage door. And then I just took the situation into control and just thought, no. And he was outside, him and his friends, for ages. I think they were even thinking about coming back and knocking my door to say, all right, then we do want it. But I obviously scared them away. So yeah, I felt back in control, which was the main thing. And I can laugh about it. That's the good thing. But I was thinking about that this afternoon, thinking, isn't it funny how, I did take control. Isn't it funny how I was doing this evening, and I was actually practicing some of the things that I was learning, or teaching. So yeah, hope this has been useful. Some of them are just really simple things to do. But for those of you that are feeling really anxious right now, go and check out EFT. There's loads of videos I've watched on it on YouTube, so you can get loads of free information. And keep those affirmations going and stay strong, and just kind of be mindful and just offload it and find someone to offload on. And that's it for today. What have we got tomorrow? We have confidence and imposter syndrome, which kind of links quite nicely to this, really, because sometimes we have those irrational thoughts and then don't believe in ourselves. So Jeanette's saying, fab evening, thank you. I'm really loving this, actually, I'm going to say. Yeah, meditation and EFT, that would be a definite good start. So yeah, glad you're enjoying it. And tomorrow we're going to be talking all about confidence. So I'll see you then. All right then. Thank you, everyone. Bye.